Social justice issues are at the top of our list here in the community. We want to improve re-entry for those previously incarcerated individuals. We want to provide the referrals and the services for those individuals so that they can in fact assimilate into our society and that they're not continued to be prejudiced against. And also it's very important that those people who are not on parole, not on probation, know that they can vote. Okay? So TT, it's up to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a big voice, so that's why I have to make sure I get away from the speakers too much. I'm TT, Tia with Caravan for Justice, also with Urban Organizers Coalition. Caravan for Justice is a grassroots campaign out of Long Beach, California, dedicated to educating, organizing, and mobilizing the community for change. Brother Tommy asked me to come out today to speak, and I really appreciate that. We're working on voter registration drives, trying to get people involved, things like that, because everything I was going to say, everybody's already said, because it's facts. So I thought about what can I come up here and tell people. And so one of the things that I think I could tell this crowd is, I looked around and I seen a lot of older people, okay? And the crowd is made up of mainly older folks, people who have been around, who have seen these injustices. We hear stories about, you know, people who went around trying to help our community 20, 30 years ago, and we're still in the same position. So the question is why, and one of my favorite, I saw a poster and that a protester had, and it said, "Let this be the last generation that fights for the same thing," right? And the question is, what does that mean, and how do we accomplish that? Because the generations before you were still fighting for it, right? When you guys were fighting 30 years ago, people had fought 30 years before that for the same thing. So the one thing I have to tell to the older folks today, anybody 50 and over, teach the youth. That's the best thing you could do right now, is teach the youth. When you go out here and you're campaigning for things and you get victories, they're small victories, because if the youth can't come behind you and keep those victories, it was a loss. If somebody can come behind you and change those laws because the youth behind you are not able to understand how city council works, or able to understand how voting works, or able to understand that there's 3 branches of the government, they don't even know that. And why, and thinking the president's most important, yes it is. But what about the judges? What about the legislation? What about your city councilman? When you complain about your parking ticket when you first moved to town, I'd say this one a lot. When I first moved to Long Beach, my parking tickets were $49. Now they're $70, and they just went up to $75 because the budget was approved. I talked to a lot of youth, a lot of people. I'm 40. I know I look younger, thank you. But, you know, I'm 40. I'm getting there, and there's things I don't understand as well. I talk to a lot of people, and they want to, even my age or older, and they still want to understand how this works. So people who understand how this works, and it's not an age thing, but I say to the older people because the youth respect older people. They listen to older people. Even if it's not your parents, somebody say something, you might not like it, but you're like, whatever. You know, there's a certain respect there, and that's what it's going to take, you know, maybe for the older people, because the youth need leaders. This isn't the time how it was when I was growing up. With everything they have now, their mind is going in so many different directions. They don't know what they want to do or how to do it. So we need the elders in the community and people with knowledge to help teach the youth. It's the most important part of this, because like I said, it doesn't matter what victory you guys get. If the people behind you have the ability to come and X that out, it was worthless. It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't matter, right? Small victory for a few years, maybe a decade. Then a decade later, somebody who has the knowledge, who's one to bring evil, not the knowledge of good, but has the knowledge of evil, comes and changes it back to the way it was, because we didn't teach the younger people coming behind us what it was going to be and what was going to happen. So I'm urging people, I'm urging everybody here, whatever knowledge you have, give it to the youth, teach them, mentor them, bring them under your wings, teach them about voting, teach them about propositions. What is a proposition? Half of them don't even know. How does a proposition get on a ballot? They don't know, you know? So I just urge everybody today to consider teaching somebody what you know, especially the youth, so that they can continue the fight. Because right now, they're lost. They're wondering, I'm still lost myself. they're lost, wondering what to do, how to do it. How does the pyramid, how does the structure work? Just the basics. So let's teach them so they can keep teaching and this can keep going on. We have a great generation right now, though. This generation coming up, man, they're for equality, they're for rights, they're for veganism, they're for health, they're for a lot of things, but they still are a little lost when it comes to understanding that this wheel's been turning. You can't just stop it. You got to learn what strength it's going to take to stop the wheel. But that's what those other people are learning, how to keep that wheel going. So we got to teach the youth how to stop that wheel. It's always going to be there. We just have to teach them how to stop it. And maybe in generations to come, that wheel will get smaller and smaller and smaller. But it's a huge wheel. So I just ask everybody here today to please make sure that reach one, teach one. Try to teach somebody your knowledge, show them what you know, especially the youth if they're young. Anybody, 21 and younger who has some ambition and excitement in their eyes, grab that, take that flame and turn it to an inferno so that they can understand and keep this movement going, because whatever we fight for, the next generation has to keep it going. And if they don't keep it going, it was pointless, right? Just like people who fought before us, and yet we're still at the same point. So thank you guys very much. Follow us, Caravan for Justice, on the social media. Appreciate you guys. Caravan number 4, Justice.